When we talk about football greatness, two names rise above all others: Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. For over a decade and a half, these two legends have redefined what it means to be the best, sparking debates in playgrounds, pubs, press rooms, and stadiums around the world. Whether you lean toward the Argentine magician or the Portuguese powerhouse, there's no denying that both have changed the game forever. Let's start from the beginning. Rosario, Argentina. A young boy named Lionel Messi was born in 1987. Small in stature but massive in talent, Messi faced physical challenges early on. Diagnosed with a growth hormone deficiency, his future in football was uncertain. But then came Barcelona, a club that saw potential and made a promise. "We'll pay for your treatment if you join our youth academy." Messi moved to Spain with his family and began his journey in La Masia. Quiet, introverted, and fiercely determined, the young boy with a low center of gravity and unmatched dribbling began making waves. Now picture Madeira, Portugal. 1985. Cristiano Ronaldo dos Santos Aveiro is born. His story was different. Raised in a modest home with a football-crazy family, Ronaldo's childhood was filled with ambition. He trained obsessively, sprinted up hills with ankle weights, and practiced free kicks late into the night. At 12, he left his home island for Lisbon to chase his dreams. He cried himself to sleep from homesickness, but never quit. Sporting CP noticed his talent, and soon after, Manchester United came knocking. While Messi was making headlines in Spain's youth leagues, Ronaldo was dazzling scouts in England. And when Sir Alex Ferguson brought Ronaldo to Manchester United, in 2003, football fans saw something raw, powerful, and explosive. He wasn't the finished product yet, but his hunger was undeniable. Fast, flashy, and fearless, Ronaldo became a global sensation. He trained harder than anyone. He built his body into a machine. He transformed himself from a tricky winger into a relentless goal-scoring phenomenon. Meanwhile, in Barcelona, Messi was quietly becoming a genius. He made his senior debut in 2004, and it didn't take long for the world to notice. His style was different. He wasn't about flair for the sake of it. Everything had a purpose. He could glide past defenders like they weren't even there. The ball seemed glued to his feet. His left foot became a legend in itself. Under Pep Guardiola, Messi found a system that suited him perfectly, and the world witnessed the rise of tiki-taka football, with Messi at the heart of it. As their careers progressed, the world watched in awe. Every year brought new records, new trophies, and new moments of magic. But what made this rivalry so special was the contrast. Messi, the silent assassin, the humble genius who let his football do the talking. Ronaldo, the charismatic warrior, the self-made icon who lived for the spotlight. They pushed each other. You could see it in their eyes. One would break a record and the other would respond the following week. Messi would score a hat-trick on Saturday. Ronaldo would do it on Sunday. It wasn't just football anymore. It was theater. From 2009 to 2018, when both players were in La Liga, the rivalry reached mythical heights. El Clásico became more than just a match. It was Messi versus Ronaldo, Barcelona versus Real Madrid, elegance versus power, artistry versus athleticism. Every game was electric. Every touch, every goal, every celebration was magnified. Fans didn't just support teams anymore. They picked sides in a global debate. Their numbers were surreal. 50 goals a season became normal. Champions League records were smashed. Ballon d'Ors were passed back and forth like a never-ending relay race. And yet, beneath all the competition, there was a mutual respect. They never needed to be best friends. The rivalry was professional, pure, intense, and driven by greatness. And then came the global reach. Social media exploded during their prime years, and both Messi and Ronaldo became international icons. Kids wore their jerseys in every corner of the globe. Memes, highlight reels, fan chants. Everything about them became part of pop culture. You couldn't talk about football without mentioning them. They were everywhere, but behind the records and the fame, there were sacrifices. Ronaldo's relentless drive meant a life of discipline, training, and calculated choices. Messi's quiet consistency required mental strength, focus, and a deep understanding of the game. They made it look easy, but it never was. And just as fans began to think they had seen it all, both continued to evolve. Ronaldo moved to Juventus, then Manchester United again, and later Saudi Arabia. Messi left Barcelona, stunned the world, with PSG, and ultimately found a new chapter in the United States. Even in their mid-30s, they proved that greatness isn't defined by age, it's defined by mindset. But their most poetic moment? The 2022 World Cup. Messi, carrying the hopes of Argentina, finally lifting the trophy that had eluded him. A storybook ending to a legendary career. Ronaldo, too, had his moments with Portugal, including a European Championship in 2016. Two legends, two paths, one eternal debate. While their club journeys dominated headlines for over a decade, what truly deepened the Messi versus Ronaldo rivalry was how they translated their brilliance onto the international stage. Representing your country isn't just about talent, it's about pressure, pride, legacy. And for both men, international football was the one arena where questions still lingered. For Messi, the burden was colossal. Argentina hadn't won a senior international title since 1993. Every tournament came with the same hopes and the same heartbreak. Finals lost in the Copa America. That crushing defeat in the 2014 World Cup final against Germany, where Messi came so close to glory. Critics said he couldn't lead like Maradona, that he didn't show the same fire in the blue and white as he did in the Barcelona shirt, but they didn't see the tears. They didn't feel the weight he carried. Ronaldo's international story had a different tone. Portugal wasn't seen as a football powerhouse, but Ronaldo's presence changed that. He dragged them into relevance. In 2004, he reached the final of the Euros as a teenager. And in 2016, he finally lifted a major trophy, even though injury forced him off in the final. That moment, coaching from the sidelines, urging his teammates forward, defined his passion, his leadership, his obsession with winning. But it wasn't just about trophies, it was about moments. Ronaldo's hat-trick against Spain in the 2018 World Cup, a masterclass in clutch performance. Messi's dribble and goal against Nigeria in 2018, a reminder of his magic when it mattered most. These were players who turned pressure into performance. Statistically, their international records remained impressive. Ronaldo became the highest goal scorer in men's international football, surpassing 120 goals. Messi, though not as prolific, often played deeper, becoming the creative heartbeat of Argentina. His assists, his vision, his ability to read the game, unparalleled, and then came redemption. For Messi, it arrived in 2021. Argentina lifted the Copa America in Brazil, a poetic victory in enemy territory. Messi was the top scorer, top assister, and the emotional center of the squad. Gone were the tears of 2016. In their place, joy, relief, triumph. For once, even his harshest critics were silenced. For Ronaldo, every goal, every match, became a battle against time. At an age when most players retire, he was still competing at the highest level. His move to Juventus wasn't just about trophies. It was about conquering another league. He did it. He became the fastest player to 100 goals in club history. And when he returned to Manchester United, the world watched with nostalgia and admiration. He still had it. The goals, the hunger, the aura. Off the pitch, both men became global brands. Ronaldo's influence extended beyond football, into fashion, business, fitness. He became a symbol of self-belief, of hard work paying off. Messi, more reserved, focused on family, loyalty, and humility. Yet his influence was just as powerful. He inspired players not by talking but by doing the impossible, over and over again. Their personalities added another layer to the rivalry. Ronaldo, fiery, emotional, outspoken. Messi, calm, introverted, surgical. One trained like a machine. The other moved like poetry. One rose through sheer force of will. The other through an otherworldly connection with the ball. Different roads, same destination. greatness. And yet, as the years passed, something beautiful happened. The hate faded, the debates mellowed, respect grew. Fans began to realize they were witnessing something we may never see again. Two generational icons competing at the same time, pushing boundaries, rewriting history. They didn't just break records. They broke norms. They changed the way young players trained, how coaches built teams, how fans measured success. Their presence elevated the entire sport. Every young striker wanted Ronaldo's physique and mentality. Every young playmaker wanted Messi's touch and vision. Even their failures were fascinating. Messi walking off the pitch in tears after losing another final. Ronaldo throwing down the captain's armband in frustration. These moments reminded us they were human. But the difference? They always came back. Always. The fans played a huge role in keeping the rivalry alive. Social media debates, YouTube highlight wars, Twitter polls. Every stat, every award, every photo was analyzed. But beneath the noise, there was admiration. Because even if you chose a side, you respected the other. Their careers were never about proving who was better. They were about proving what was possible. That a boy from a small island in Portugal could become a global icon. That a shy kid from Argentina, smaller than everyone else, could become the greatest to ever do it. And then came the twilight of their careers. A stage most players fear, but not them. Ronaldo chose to blaze new trails, showing that football isn't just limited to Europe. Messi chose to bring the game to new audiences, showing that magic has no borders. They aged, but they never faded. Because legends don't fade, they evolve, they adapt, and they continue to inspire. Now, as the final chapters of their careers unfold, we begin to ask, what is their legacy? Is it the goals, the trophies, the records? Yes, all of those things matter. But the real legacy of Messi and Ronaldo lies in the emotion they stirred, in millions. They made people feel. They made grown men scream with joy or cry in defeat. They inspired children to dream, to dribble like Messi, to train like Ronaldo. They redefined greatness not just by what they achieved, but by how they made people fall in love with the game. Let's talk numbers for a moment. Ronaldo has scored over 850 career goals across Portugal, England, Spain, Italy, and beyond. Messi, not far behind, has dazzled with over 800. Their consistency is staggering, season after season, across different leagues, different systems, different teammates. While others burned bright for a few years, they remained at the summit for over 15 Ballon d'Ors. Ronaldo has 5, Messi a record 8. Champions League titles, domestic trophies, individual accolades, both have cabinets most players can only dream of. But again, those are just milestones. The real achievement is longevity at the top. And then there's style, the intangible, the magic. The difference between watching a great player and watching an artist. With Messi, the ball obeys. The passes nobody sees, the chips, the swerves, the close control. It's instinct. He doesn't just play the game, he feels it. He sees possibilities in chaos. Ronaldo? He dominates. He arrives. His presence changes. The energy of a stadium. When he jumps for a header, time seems to slow down. When he runs toward a ball, defenders panic. He's not just a player. He's a force, a phenomenon, a living example of discipline, dedication, and desire. Over time, their paths diverged more. Ronaldo embraced the challenge of moving across leagues, from the Premier League to La Liga, to Serie A, and then outside of Europe. Messi, for most of his career, was loyal to Barcelona, until circumstances forced a change. Both choices valid, both choices brave. And that's the beauty of it. There's no single blueprint for greatness. Messi and Ronaldo showed that two completely different approaches can lead to the same mountaintop. But still, fans argue. Who's the GOAT? Is it the one who won the World Cup, who walked through defenses like wind through leaves, who made the pitch his canvas? Or the one who conquered multiple leagues, who shattered physical limits, who built himself into the ultimate goal machine? The truth? There is no definitive answer. Greatness isn't a stat sheet. It's a feeling. And both of them gave us more than enough reasons to feel. We'll remember Messi's solo goals, his soft-spoken magic, the tears of joy in Qatar. We'll remember Ronaldo's thunderous free kicks, his defiant celebrations, the roar of a stadium echoing his name. Sio! We'll remember the El Clásicos, the Champions League nights, the times when time stood still because we knew we were witnessing history. And maybe one day, years from now, when football fans gather and talk about legends, someone will ask, Messi or Ronaldo, and the only right answer will be, we were lucky to see them both. Because beyond the rivalry, beyond the goals and the glory, there's something eternal about what they gave us. Moments, memories, magic. As they walk toward retirement, they leave behind not just stats or silverware, but a legacy that will echo through generations. Two boys from humble beginnings who climbed to the top of the world, and never let it go. Thank you, Messi. Thank you, Ronaldo. And thank you, football.